we've been attacked a lot worse. People are like, well, what the hell? Why would you do that? No, that's a meme. Like, if you build it, they will come. You actually like have to do the legwork to attract people. Solana's trajectory right now, you can't deny it.
Could you introduce yourself very briefly? Name, title, what you get up to daily?
I'm Chase Barker. My official title is Head of Developer Ecosystem, although I'm not really sure what my title is anymore. I've had a lot of different jobs at Foundation in the last 4 years. I was a DevRel lead. I became Head of Developer Ecosystem. More recently, I'm doing some content stuff. Anything I can. My job description is like do whatever I can to support and grow the Solana ecosystem, and that's what I do.
Definitely. You seem to be quite active online as well. Do you have a favorite hat to wear? Favorite job title over the last few years?
I like StepFinance. That's a good title. Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, like I'm terminally online, but I like to like be around my people. You know, I don't want to feel like I'm here at Foundation and everybody else is here just having a good time online. Like I want to be part of that too.
Being part of the community. We're here in Singapore for Breakpoint. How's that been so far for you?
It's been great. The first couple hours when I come to these things, it's just lots of hugs and handshakes, and it's just like this. But I mean, like, it's an incredible feeling, and we get to hang out and talk about cool stuff what people are building.
Is it different this year? I mean, aside from the fact that it's in Singapore and last year was in Amsterdam and Lisbon before that, is it significantly different for you?
This year?
Yep.
I would say yes. The past 3 years of Breakpoint have historically been I would call it a family reunion of Solana people. 1,500 to maybe 2,000. We all know each other. Everybody's sort of hanging out. And it's just like that one time a year we all get to just like see each other again. Over the course of the last year, Solana kind of like after post last Breakpoint, when Solana started to catch some really solid steam again, now everybody's paying attention to us. We're all over the place, whether you're shit talking us or you're talking how good Solana is, or our name is in a lot of people's sort of like minds. And paired with Token 2049, lots of capital guys here, the rise of Memecoins, so there's a new level of like sort of like degenerate like culture as well. So 5,700 tickets, we sold out. Like that's crazy. So significantly different here. Definitely. And the production value of this one like is pretty wild. I got lost in here 3 times.
You'll probably get lost again. It's a massive building. Not quite as big as Token 2049, but as you said, the focus is a little bit different here. It seems more intimate here. It's not so much of a BD-focused event. It's more focused on the innovations and the products and the services. And I think the problems that are being solved, but also the format seems a little bit different. There's these sort of binary choices that are being presented to the audience.
Yeah.
The most interesting one I've seen is whether or not meme coins are net negative or net positive. When you mentioned meme coins there and the amount of attention that they gather, what are your thoughts on meme coins? Are they getting too much attention? Is it net negative? Is it net positive?
I think like everything, they had too much attention for a while. And I always thought that NFTs were great because real true communities were forming around them because like people were bonding through that. Meme coins to me in the beginning just seemed like just very PvP, just like people just trying to rug each other basically, which I did not like that. And it also took over the timeline for like at least 3 months, like nothing but. And like for me who like uses Twitter to find real information, seeing tickers online like nonstop and just in threads, like it was pretty frustrating for me because, you know, that's not my thing. But over time, dilution happens. Everything was jumping up to hundreds of millions of market cap. Now they're like going to $15,000 market caps. So the market's diluted and like, just like everything, like it's slowed, like it was like a nice bell curve. Now it's sort of smoothed over, I think.
We're past that?
I think so. I don't think it'll, you know, things are cyclical. It might come back, but I think that was a very unique set of circumstances with pumped up fun and just, but I mean, I like people having fun on chain, so I don't dislike meme coins. I just like don't like when my Twitter feed is filled with them nonstop.
Yeah, does that interfere with the sort of work that you're trying to do with the foundation?
Totally.
And communicating the real value?
Twitter, I use it for educational programs. I use it to get messages out there. And during that meme coin time, like if I tweet about a developer boot camp, like maybe 0 likes on this, where like, you know, it used to be hundreds. So obviously attentions are focused when money's involved. And like the voices of the people trying to do really cool shit don't matter because everybody's chasing money.
Do you think it also creates a perception problem, both for people within the ecosystem and maybe people that mainly focus on other ecosystems and people that are not even in crypto?
Like meme coins?
Yeah.
Like specifically how like Solana, like that? Yeah, it just gave people who dislike Solana another narrative, which is like Solana's only meme coins, which discounting 3 years of crazy builders building incredible stuff, like everything from infrastructure, like the Jito guys and Helios and like all the DeFi projects and Helium, all these crazy things. And then all of a sudden meme coins just shoot off and like people take it as an opportunity to be like, Solana's just meme coins, which pretty frustrating as well. But, we've been attacked a lot worse. So, just another day.
How do we deal with that perception issue then?
In the beginning, it was really tough because we didn't have a lot of people that could speak out. Honestly, like Mert coming around and actually being out there, like changing the narrative, and then a lot of people started to follow his lead. And now if somebody tries to make those claims, it's not just Mert anymore. It's like everybody is educated enough to respond to those sort of narratives. So it used to take months and months to be able to change a narrative, and now we can do it in a day or less. So,
given that you're quite active online, then do you have to deal with this sort of direct series of attacks?
I don't engage in that. That's not like working for Foundation. The community can do it. I don't want to. I don't want to get involved in that sort of drama. I don't think it's like my place to even do that. So, but like I said, the community has done a great job now.
Absolutely. Obviously, at the Foundation, you're not focused on promoting meme coins or even engaging in the sort of, let's say, toxicity, negativity around it. But
of course,
what do you do day to day in terms of communicating, what is happening in this ecosystem?
Well, like, what do I do day to day at my job? I'm outside of my like sort of like Twitter persona when it's sort of like a meme. Like, what do you actually do there? Like for the past 4 years, it's been giving grants to public goods, like educational programs, things like Mountain DAO, Island DAO. We just launched a full-time community hub in Miami called The Port. But it's pretty much you doing grants to get money in the hands of people in the ecosystem that want to further the ecosystem for everybody, not to give somebody money to fund themselves or to create a product, but somebody who's like, I want to teach this, or I want to do this, or I want to have this event. Again, like we did this with Step, obviously, with Solana Crossroads. These are partially funded through Solana Foundation. But then they become fully community run, and like this is just like a public good to the ecosystem. So like lots of public good grants, really. So ultimately, like right now, we're in a place where we have to make sort of gut checks or gut calls on some of these things. And if it's too much money, you do a small one to see if they actually can execute.
Yeah.
And that opens you up to a little more trust. And then maybe if you do an awesome job and you really did something cool for the ecosystem, we can do it again, or we can do it bigger, and on we go.
And what's the end game for the foundation itself then? You said until to dissolve.
To no longer exist. And like Dan Albert, the executive director of Foundation, has a debate. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, and he is debating on behalf of dissolving Solana Foundation. People are like, well, what the hell? Why would you do that? But at the end of the day, blockchains are meant to be decentralized, but so are ecosystems. Foundation's voice every year has got less and less and less, and the communities gets louder and louder and louder, and that's the way it should be. And then maybe you reach a point where maybe it doesn't fully dissolve, but there's like 3 people there, that are still maybe managing some treasury or like working to coordinate, still helping on the validator or the decentralization side. I think full dissolving would be really tough. Not even Ethereum has accomplished that yet. They still have a fund that they use. I think they spend, I can't remember how much money they spend, like $90 million a year into the ecosystem. But once that treasury's gone, then they're gone.
Do you think that's going to be the sort of model with other ecosystems?
I think Solana is very unique in the way that we think. Ethereum is definitely philosophically aligned with like that mentality to sort of, we eventually no longer want to exist, and this thing will it has to be able to sustain itself over time. So from my understanding, because I know a lot of people who work for other blockchains, I've talked, a lot of this, I don't think a lot of blockchains think about it like that. they're run like businesses. Foundation is
Right.
more not thought of like a business.
On that thought, I wanted to ask you, because some other layer ones have recently come under fire for spending vast amounts of money on marketing, and it's not necessarily worked the way that I think they wanted it to. There was a lot of backlash, at least on Twitter, where we tend to be very opinionated and speak very openly. So what are your thoughts on the amount of money that's been spent on marketing and maybe the result, and should we be doing that in Solana?
I mean, it depends on what kind of marketing. I think there's good and bad marketing. Like Breakpoint is marketing, like a website is marketing. But I think you're talking about pay-to-play marketing deals with like Web2 companies, which all unnamed companies have done with the likes of Starbucks and a few other people. And those, if you don't actually build, if you just give somebody money to integrate with your blockchain just so you get a headline, in my opinion, it's totally useless. You have to build a relationship. You have to like make that company understand why it's important. And I think at Foundation, short-term incentives is not what we do. We build long-term relationships so that it's something that can last for a long time. And I really don't think a lot of the groups that I've seen are really actually doing the same thing. They're just trying to give people money to do a thing, but what they don't realize is like once that incentive dries up, that person is, if they haven't succeeded, are just going to go to the next blockchain.
So how do we communicate to people that still think Solana is either a VC chain or it goes down every other Tuesday or it's just for gambling and speculation? How do we communicate the reality that we see
Get
here?
them to sell whatever bag they have, because that's really what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
Like it's really like whatever, if you're in the Ethereum ecosystem and you're like just there for the money and you're not like in tech or like really actually truly care about blockchain, it's all about the bias. Solana is actually a threat to like Ethereum because we do the same things. So
that's an interesting point. A threat to Ethereum. It used to get called a potential ETH killer, and I think we're over that.
I would
point
never
now.
call it that. Like a threat, as in like potentially like taking some volume away from them. Like Ethereum's going to exist for a very long time, and hopefully Solana is as well. But at the end of the day, we are to drop in the bucket for like capital compared to the like global economy. There's so much room to go around. If people would stop fighting over things and bring in net new developers, net new users, net new capital, there's plenty of money for if this is what people worry about, there's plenty of it to go around. But everybody seems to just be fighting over this little small amount rather than thinking big for how to bring in more people to this economy.
Right. Not to keep pitting the two ecosystems against each other, because I think that's unnecessary. But Solana did recently flip Ethereum for DEX volumes and I think monthly trading revenues as well. And that was the first time, as far as I'm aware, ever that happened. Do you think that that's going to continue, or will something happen where trading volumes and revenues sort of shifts back, or is it maybe going to sort of rotate over into some of these newer high performance blockchains? How do you see that playing out?
I think it is like. It is a game of musical chairs where the money flows around. It's really hard to tell, in my personal opinion. And like, I mean, it's nothing against other blockchains, but Solana's trajectory right now is you can't deny it. Like the volume's coming in, the projects are coming in. Like with the things like PayPal and PyUSD and Solana taking a ton of that volume. People are choosing Solana because it's fast and cheap. But it doesn't negate other chains. But Solana, when users need performance, they're choosing Solana these days. So, and that'll also continue. But right now, to be perfectly honest, Ethereum and EVM dominates the developer numbers right now. We're maybe, I don't know, I don't want to like miscalculate this, but maybe like Solana ecosystem probably has maybe 1/4 of the amount of engineers as EVM, but they've also been around like 7 years longer or whatever the number is.
True. And one of the discussions that's happening upstairs, I think today or tomorrow, is which of those ecosystems is more future-proof?
I don't know what that means. I mean, I can assume, but like, are we talking about, is this going to survive for the years? I'm guessing that's...
I guess it's to do with resilience or being able to sort of, weather the unforeseeable circumstances of the future.
I'm guessing the people who are doing that debate actually have put a lot of thought into this. So on the spot, it might be pretty hard to do. With knowing no information about what sort of components they would even look at to determine that, I would say that they're both pretty even. That's the best, because I don't even know how you would go about like trying to understand that. But and maybe Solana has an edge if deciding on future proof is determined by like, will people continue using it in the future, when there's another option. So yeah, I don't think I could really answer that very well.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of the binary options seem either you're going to reject the premise of the question, or right, you have a very clear response or bias towards one end of it.
Yeah, I mean, do I think is Solana future proof? I think after just watching Kevin Bowers on a technical side of things, talking about the speed of light is too slow, like that's sort of the ambition that this man have, then if we're talking on the technical side of things, I think Solana's pretty damn future proof.
And aside from the Seeker that's been announced recently, the new Solana phone, what types of innovations in this space excite you the most?
I think, so the phone stuff is really cool. It's really tough market to get into. But, like if you can use it as a ledger, which it's a secure device, like that also has an additional value. Maybe it doesn't need to grow to be used by the world, as long as there's a niche group of nerds that are going to use it and they get a ton of value out of it, and like it's a profitable endeavor. Maybe that's totally fine.
I mean, 140,000 pre-orders, I think that's quite reasonable.
Yeah, I would say so. But that's, we're nowhere near, that's not even a million, and like it's a huge market, but 140,000 is shocking that had that many orders. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. Because I'm primarily focused on like ecosystem growth and developers and trying to like grow that part of the world, I don't spend a ton of time in the other areas. I obviously use blockchain, I use DeFi, I use StepFinance. And I would say that something that seems pretty cool to me is the real world asset stuff. Like there's the project which is Elements, which is now bringing like oil and stuff on chain. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. If they can grow that adoption, then it's going to be a pretty large market.
Yeah, from attending some of the RWA-related conferences, there seems to be an ongoing discussion about matching supply and demand there. So do you think Solana is going to get to a similar point where you've built out the developer ecosystem, the tooling is there, enough is being built, but then we maybe have a problem matching that supply and the demand?
What do you mean by that?
As in, we've built a bunch of really, really cool tools, but people aren't really using them. Is that the direction that we're going in? Or if we build, will they come?
No, that's a meme. Like, if you build it, they will come. You actually like have to do the legwork to attract people, like marketing and distribution sort of stuff.
Clear. What can we look forward to in the next 12 months, 24 months within Solana? Again, aside from the phone, aside from the really exciting things that are happening and being announced this week, what can we look forward to, do you think? Is it technological advancements? Is it the community maturing? Is it the perception from outside changing?
I don't think that perception's going to change a whole lot in that time frame, most likely. But I do think that one of the most exciting things, again, is just the Kevin Bowers talk that we just heard. Like Frankendancer, which is like a half new client for Solana. It's going to do 1 million transactions a second. We're nowhere near filling that load as a block. Like where Solana's doing 3,000, Ethereum's doing 17. Most blockchains are less than that. So we're nowhere near that demand, but it opens us up to actually be able to potentially. Anatoly's original vision was like NASDAQ on the blockchain, and like those numbers allow that to be real. I think the main thing is that if we hit those numbers, the sky's the limit, and people can go out and just build anything you could build in Web 2 on Solana. And like that's the part that's the most exciting.
Thank you so much for making time to talk to us. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.